Welcome to the Science Experience podcast, where we explore the latest and most exciting papers and preprints in science. And hey, before we jump into today's deep dive, if you find this valuable, please do like, subscribe, and maybe share it with friends and family. It really does help support the Science Experience. Okay, so today, we're tackling that number burned into our fitness trackers. 10,000 steps. It's been the goal forever, right? But where did it even come from? We're going to look past the sort of arbitrary targets and dive into a huge new systematic review and meta-analysis. It looks at what the actual science says about daily steps and our health. Our mission here is pretty simple. Pull out the most practical, the most evidence-backed number you should really be aiming for.
Yeah, and what's really striking about this study is just how comprehensive it is. I mean, they pulled together data from 57 different studies.
57.
Right, across 35 cohorts worldwide. And the key thing is it wasn't just looking at, say, dying early. It synthesized the dose response, how much activity relates to how much benefit for 8 major health outcomes.
8? Like, what specifically?
Well, all-cause mortality, of course, but also cardiovascular disease, cancer incidence, type 2 diabetes, dementia, even things like depressive symptoms, physical function, and falls. Many of these just didn't have solid evidence linking them to step counts before.
Okay, got it. So breadth and depth. Let's cut to the chase then. We've all been aiming for 10,000 steps. What does this massive analysis say is the new magic number?
Well, the evidence points pretty strongly towards 7,000 steps per day as being sort of the sweet spot.
7,000, not 10.
Exactly. Now, 10,000 steps is still a fine goal, especially if you're already quite active. But 7,000 steps is where they saw really clinically meaningful health improvements kick in. And importantly, it feels a lot more realistic for, most people.
7,000. Okay. I think a lot of people just breathe the sigh of relief. But how much difference does hitting 7,000 actually make? Let's quantify it. Say, compared to someone mostly sedentary, maybe getting only 2,000 steps.
Oh, the difference is huge,
Yeah.
really substantial. Compared to that 2,000-step baseline, hitting 7,000 steps per day was associated with a 47% lower risk of all-cause mortality.
47% just from walking. That's incredible.
It really is. And like you said, it's not just about living longer. For brain health, getting to 7,000 steps meant a 38% lower risk of dementia.
Wow.
For heart health, cardiovascular disease incidence, that was down 25%. And even mental well-being, a 22% lower risk of developing depressive symptoms.
Okay, so across the board, physical and mental, hitting that 7K mark provides massive, measurable benefits over being sedentary.
Definitely. It shows a moderate, pretty sustainable habit can have a really profound impact.
So here's the question then. If 7,000 steps gives you that huge drop in risk, why stop there? Isn't more always better? Shouldn't we push for 12,000, 15,000 steps?
That's where it gets really interesting. And this study helps clarify that. For many of those big outcomes like all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, dementia, falls on, the relationship was inverse, meaning more steps is better, but it was non-linear.
Non-linear. Okay, let's break that down for everyone listening. You mean the benefits don't just keep stacking up at the same rate? Like you get the biggest bang for your buck early on.
Exactly right. Think of it like climbing a hill. The steepest part, where you gain the most altitude quickly, is getting up to that 5,000 to 7,000 step range. After that, the slope eases off considerably. The risk keeps dropping slightly, maybe up to 12,000 steps for some things, but the curve really flattens out.
Right. So the extra effort to go from, say, 8,000 to 12,000 steps yields much smaller health gains compared to going from 2,000 to 7,000.
Precisely. And crucially, the researchers look specifically at this. For several key outcomes, cardiovascular mortality, cancer incidence, type 2 diabetes, and falls stepping beyond 7,000 steps per day didn't show a statistically significant additional reduction in risk compared to just hitting 7,000.
That's a critical point. So the extra mileage might not be worth it from a pure risk reduction standpoint for those specific conditions.
Correct. The marginal returns diminish significantly. Now, for some outcomes, like overall cancer incidence and type 2 diabetes incidence, the link was more linear, suggesting continued, albeit perhaps smaller, benefits with more steps. But the big nonlinear effect was clear for mortality and CVD.
So the takeaway for you listening is maybe work smart, focus on hitting that consistent 7,000 rather than just chasing ever higher numbers purely for volume.
That seems to be a key implication. And also, really important, don't get discouraged if 7,000 feels like too much right now. Progress is progress. The study showed that even just getting up to 4,000 steps a day compared to 2,000 resulted in a very substantial 36% lower risk of all-cause mortality. Every step truly does count, especially early on.
That's a great message. So let's synthesize this. It feels like the era of blindly following the 10,000 step rule might be over. This huge analysis points to 7,000 steps as a really effective, uh, evidence-backed target. It delivers major health benefits, and it's actually achievable for many more people.
I think that sums it up well. It's a powerful, data-driven goal.
And any final thoughts for people to chew on?
Yeah, one interesting wrinkle in the findings. It suggests that the ideal number might not be exactly the same for everyone. There were hints that the optimal step count could differ by age group.
Oh, how so?
Well, for example, looking at cardiovascular disease incidence, the point where the benefits started to level off that inflection point seemed to be a bit higher for younger adults compared to older adults.
Interesting. So maybe future guidelines will get even more personalized, tailored goals based on age, perhaps other factors too.
That could certainly be the direction things head in. It suggests there's still more nuance to uncover.
Fascinating stuff. Thanks for breaking that all down. And for everyone listening, if this deep dive helped clarify things for you, please do hit like and subscribe. It really helps the science experience keep going. We'll catch you next time.